Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reviews That Don't Matter with Jessica Hitt. My name is Jessica Hitt, and on today's episode, we are talking Death Note, not the TV series, the new Netflix movie that is set in Washington. Now, I'm going to get right to it. I hated this movie. I really did. And I don't really hate a lot of movies. I can usually find something fun in them or something. I literally just did a review on Bring It On, Cheer SmackDown, or whatever it is. And that was about 10 million times better than this Death Note movie. The story for this is so stupid. And it's just like, okay, we're going to get to the problems here. First off, the movie just kind of starts off right away. And within literally 3 minutes, the freaking guy, Light, has his death note. We get no real introduction to these characters. We get this little 80s song slow-mo thing going on, which I was kind of into. And it kind of focused on, of course, Nat Wolff's character, Light, who is the main character of this whole thing. You see him kind of giving out tests to other students and getting paid, which in my mind I was like, God, I should have gotten into that market when I was in high school. I would have been making bank. And you get a small introduction into Mia, who is just, she's obviously one of those people who is trying very hard to look like they're not trying whatsoever, and it's very obvious considering the type of people they hang out with, the things that they do, and so basically, they have the opening credits scene, title sequence with this 80s songs playing, kind of slow-mo, and then wind blows, and then Death Note just appears next to Light, and he picks it up, and it starts pouring rain down in Washington. And this is where I know this is going to be a stupid movie, when all of the kids scream and run to go inside and hide from the rain. Okay. If you live in the Northwest, you know that this is just gonna happen. I live in Oregon. If it starts pouring on me, I just go, oh well, and I walk inside. I don't scream and run. Where are these kids from? Come on. Anyway, basically, Light kind of stumbles upon a bully who's pushing this kid around, and he tries sticking up for her. And honestly, this first little bit, the character seems so, different, because Light is stuttering and he's kind of nervous, and it's just not the Light that you see the rest of the time through. And you can't even say that it's because Death Note gives him this confidence. It just literally is a different character. And then of course he gets knocked out, and then Mia goes and finds a teacher and hey, this kid needs help, and they find all of the counterfeit tests, and he gets in trouble. He goes to detention by himself, where he kind of sees Death Note and he's looking at all of the stuff. Which, if you just found a notebook and that was what it was and had all these rules, it'd be kind of funny to read through it and all that kind of stuff. I'd never test it out, especially considering it's not even he just playfully wrote a name down and was oh yeah. No. He sees Ryuk, which is this death god, apparently, voiced by whatever his name is. The Green Goblin guy from the first Spider-Man. That's who it is, and I can't remember the name. Anyway, we see Ryuk. He gets introduced to Light, and of course there's a freak out, which I enjoy the freak out considering anybody would be, but they're tearing apart this class. How is Light going to get out of that? First of all, he's destroying this room. So Ryuk somehow convinces him to write down a bully's name with decapitation, the way he's going to die, and watch it unfold in front of him, which, first of all, is just so worrisome because, yes, bullies are terrible people, but do they deserve to be decapitated by a ladder? And it's very Final Destination wise, so it looks like a really weird, awkward accident. So there's it would be very hard to track down anybody for these murders because they would just be oh, it's an accident, it's not even a murder. So his first kill is under the book. And you know what? By the way, this is gonna have spoilers because honestly, it's so bad you should not watch this movie. Or I guess watch it and tell me if maybe you did like it, but I just. And I'm not even a fan of the anime. I'm not. I knew a little bit about it, the basics of it. So he decides to go home, get revenge on the mobster that ran over his mom. His dad is a cop, by the way, a very good cop. And so that is why the mobster ran down the mom. And so he gets murdered, and basically the next day, Light like goes up to Mia, or Mia goes up to Light, or something like that, and they've never really talked, honestly. Like, they barely knew each other's names, and he immediately tells her about the Death Note, which is just stupid on all accounts. And then they start like making out and having like awkward sex scenes, and they're just murdering bad people together. You kind of find out later that she's a complete psychopath because she eventually wants to take out Light's dad. Anyway, they're kind of like messaging to the world that that it is one person that's taking care of all of these terrible people that are murdering people or having sex trafficking, stuff like that, which I'm not even going to get into the right and wrongs of it. The problem I have with this whole story part is that you don't care enough about Light or Mia to like really get into the fact that they're killing a whole bunch of bad people, because I mean, really, this is all brought up as being morally wrong. The idea of killing all of these people, even if they're bad people. So you should feel an attachment to Light in an anti-hero way or in a hero way, depending on what you see. But you don't. Light is like this teenage, like, angst-ridden kid who should not have the Death Note. Mia is a psychopathic girl who should not have the Death Note. I don't know. They miss so many marks on this. First of all, just relationship. Second, the audience connection to the characters. And then, of course, you have this big hunt for Ryuk, or whatever they call him. I can't even remember the name of what he gives himself. It means light in Japanese or something like that. Anyway, there's this like crazy detective person that's been trained since he was a kid to be the best detective in the world, called L, or some other letter in the alphabet. Pretty sure it's L. I could be wrong though. He somehow tracks down Light. Well, he tracks down to the actual like Seattle area. I believe they're in Seattle, Washington. So they track him down to Seattle, but then they're trying to figure out who he is. And so you have this L character who is just like so unbelievable in this world. Like, he is a caricature of a character. I have so many problems with the character of L. So many. It was written weird. He is completely unstable, which, I'm sorry, but if you're trained from birth to be the greatest detective in the world, you're gonna have some like control over your emotions, more control than like a normal person would. So L somehow figures out that Light is actually Ryuk, who is, you know, the death god, killing all of these people, which, I mean, they don't even explain how he really ends up knowing any of this stuff. And then Light's so stupid that he just like does not hide it well whatsoever. And by the way, this is all after Mia basically tries to murder Light's dad by writing it in the book, like suggests that they should do that because Light's dad like confronted Ryuk on live television and was calling him out, basically calling him a pussy. They get back together, they go to this dance, and she is psychotic. She writes Light's name down in the book. She stole out a paper. Ryuk likes her more than Light because she's willing to just kill people because she's insane. And then we end with this crazy scene where apparently Light is smart enough to write out these events of what's going to happen. So basically, Light has to escape from the police and from L, who is hunting him down, which how he even escapes L is crazy to me, considering L is supposed to be the best detective in the world, and this is a teenage boy. Anyway, he meets Mia at the Ferris wheel, and they get on. He like points a gun at the guy and then shoots it so that way nobody else can get on, which is crazy. And then he like throws the gun out so it's not threatening Mia. And then basically he asks her to just run away with him because she's not a complete psychopath in his eyes, apparently, even after he knows that she wrote his name down in the book. And Light will die unless he gives the death note to Mia, which is just a terrible idea. Like, oh my God. But then she tries to steal the book back, and that sets this entire thing in motion where Light has written out this like weird instructions, like if Mia takes the book, the Ferris wheel will all of a sudden start falling, and then Mia and Light will fall out of it. He'll hang on. The moment she lets go of his hand, she will grab for the book and tear out his name and page so he doesn't actually die. And she lands in a flower bed and dies instantly. He lands in the lake and is taken out, and somehow he controls two other people's minds before he kills them to put him in a medically induced coma. Well, to resuscitate him, first of all, and also get the book, and then to put him in a medically induced coma for 2 days, and then have this Ryuk death god character kill off a couple more people so it could possibly be him that is Ryuk. It is literally like, we're led to believe that Light is so smart he can choreograph this scene of events. Like, and if we're talking one positive thing in this, I do like the visuals of Ryuk. I think that's fantastic. I do also like the characterization of him with his voice. I am not as high as a lot of people are on it, saying that that's the only redeemable aspect of this. I think that the movie needed more Ryuk. I would have liked to have seen him basically, like, once the Death Note is in Light's hands, he's basically always there, just invisible. Like, imagine him being in a classroom, just like with a whole bunch of kids just like randomly saying stuff. I think that would have been fun, kind of like an imagination, like piece of your imagination. So I would have liked to have seen Ryuk more, and maybe even if he like manipulated Light or Mia a little bit more, like it would have made more sense to why Mia all of a sudden became a psychopath. I mean, honestly, this was a complete miss. I feel like there's so much story and so much that could have happened to fit into one movie, especially this is a series. Like, these are well thought of characters, and they're completely, like, it's completely different from the source material. Take out the fact that it's set in Japan and there's Japanese people in it and they made it in Seattle with white people. Take out that, like, the characters are completely different, which is what they were going for, because they didn't want to do the whole whitewashing thing, which it's still whitewashing technically. But they didn't change it for the better, you know? And I mean, it could have been interesting if like they could have made a series of it to where every single movie the Death Note got passed on to a different person, and like there's little hints of like the past movies in them, and I don't know, I think that could have been fun, even if it would have started like in the past, and I personally think they should have started in Japan. Even if that goes and it goes to someone in India, and then someone in the UK, maybe someone in South Africa, America, Latin America, like that would have been cool to see it passed around and see like these different stories. So they could have done some really cool stuff with it, but they like completely ruined it. It's like what they did with Avatar: The Last Airbender. They completely ruined any chance of making a good live adaptation. Like, and it just makes me so mad. But I mean, I'd be willing to check out the anime now that I've seen the movie so bad. And people are so high on this anime. Like, I've known about it for quite a few years, and it's one of the more popular. It's not like Naruto, but it's kind of like maybe like One Punch Man popular? Full Metal Alchemist popular? I don't know. I have no clue. I don't really know much anime. I mean, I did old school like Sailor Moon anime, but not into what we have now. But yeah, I hated this movie. I hated every aspect of this movie. I really did. And the only good thing was Ryuk, and he wasn't even in it for enough. And he wasn't even great. He was just like good, as far as I'm concerned. I would not recommend this to very many people. It's not even like so bad it's like laughable. It's just like, ugh, I just wanted to stop watching it a lot. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this review. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below, what were your thoughts on Death Note? Maybe you did actually like it, and then you can point out some of the reasons why you did. You guys have every right to have a different opinion on a movie than me. Like, I totally understand that, and I'd actually like to hear some point of views of somebody who did like it, or maybe you understood some of the choices that they made. Also, please subscribe. I make videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah, that's what I do. Bye.